Hi everyone, my name is Jason Ryle and I'm TIFF's International Programmer for Indigenous Cinema, and I'll be conducting the Q&A this evening. So please, let's not wait any longer and welcome back the brilliant Taika Waititi to the stage, along with Ra Vincent, production designer, and the real-life inspirations for the two leads, Thomas Rongan and Jaya Sayalua.
You can all sit down now.
Welcome everyone, thank you so much. And I'll begin by asking a couple of questions and then open it up to the audience. And as you think of your wonderfully succinct questions about the film, we ask for your consideration regarding the ongoing SAG and WGA strikes. And to ensure respect for our panelists, please refrain from discussing any struck work or struck companies and direct your questions to this evening's film. Mr. Taika Waititi, thank you so much again for sharing another remarkable film with TIFF's audience. You have a wonderful history with this festival, and so it's a pleasure for us to present the world premiere again tonight. Tell us how you came. What was your connection point to this story? Were you familiar with the documentary? Were you familiar with the actual initial match?
Yeah, I watched the documentary, and as I said earlier, it was just amazing to see, a true underdog story, which we all love. We love those stories. No one wants to see a sports film about winners who just keep winning. That's boring. And so, and I really couldn't believe that it was a true story. And I watched the documentary. I was so amazed, and I just investigated, what was happening with the story, if anyone was developing it, and I never thought I'd ever make a sports film, especially not a film about a sport that I knew nothing about. And I came away knowing even less about football, probably. But at the heart was just the idea that, and I think I'd just come off Hunt for the Wilder People or something. Anyway, just the idea of just showcasing, again, Pacific Islanders and just seeing more brown faces on film and with a really cool, uplifting story. That's what attracted me.
Beautiful. And a lot of your films deal with underdog characters or unlikely protagonists. I mean, in this particular thing, do you see something of yourself within that as well?
Yeah. I mean, as a kid growing up, there weren't many opportunities to see ourselves on screen. And, there's a certain narrative around, a lot of indigenous cultures, and if you're poor, the narrative is a certain way in the news and in media, and I just like seeing stuff that's positive, and we're funny people, and and in New Zealand,
yes, you are,
and especially in New Zealand, growing up, a lot of the things that you see, and especially especially in the Americas. Seeing First Nations people in a lot of film and stuff, it's always, everyone's always just stoic and serious and, standing on mountains, playing flutes and talking to ghosts of your grandmother and but we are funny people and we take the piss out of each other all the time, and it's just, that's who we are. And so for us, it's always weird to see ourselves portrayed in that way in a film, and I feel like this is just a more authentic representation.
Very well said, very true. And Ra, two-time Oscar nominee production designer, congratulations on this film.
Thank you. One time was kind of his fault, actually. It's okay, because this one's kind of in a similar vein to our other collaborations, but this was all about heart and community, and a transformative experience, I think, for not only the cast, but for the crew who worked behind the scenes.
Beautiful, beautiful work, Rob. Thank you so much. Jaya, we'll come back to you in a second, but Thomas, congratulations.
Thomas!
I didn't lose my tux, but I always have a lava with me. All right? And then talk about culture, talking about traveling. We're below sea level. So I'm from the Netherlands, Amsterdam. So we have to be creative to survive. And I took this opportunity as a great challenge. And I'm still somewhat speechless because it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster ride for me, obviously. My daughter dies. Yeah, I've lost some jobs, but this is an MLS winning ring, by the way, as coach at DC United. In saying that, I mean, these two guys and this one right here made it all very, very special for different reasons, and I think you got a bit of a feel for that tonight. Awesome experience for me to be in a crowd that's engaged in this. And as Taika said, it's boring winning. So you tackle always some very interesting taboo stories, be it religion with me, I'm an atheist, be it Jai, obviously, as a Fafafina, as we know that, accepted in Polynesia, not so much outside of the world. I'm Dutch, so I do accept most, or a lot, I think. And still, you spun my head around a few times, Taika, in this movie, but wonderfully done. Thank you for the reception, and she's the real star in this whole thing. So, thank you, Toronto.
And Jaya, what a fantastic journey you've been on professionally, personally here. Congratulations, and thank you so much for coming. Tell us about sort of, really your story is the inspiration for so much of this film's heart.
Since 2011, the last thing I could ever imagine happen is this kind of thing. And when Steve Jamieson and Mike Brett, who are also here with us, Steve and Mike, the creators of the documentary, please. When they followed the team around in 2011, we barely noticed that they were filming. They were told to stay away from the team, don't bother the training sessions unless we were doing individual interviews with them. But since then, the documentary came out in 2014. Taika took interest, filming in 2019, and then COVID, and then a lot of other things happened. I really stopped holding my breath on this project, and I thought it wasn't going to happen, and here we are. So the journey has been, like Thomas said, a roller coaster. It's been crazy, and it's been life-changing for me personally because a lot has happened for me. FIFA picking up news of, the first out transgender being to play in a FIFA World Cup tournament, and from that tournament, the platform was created where I was able to do some work with the FIFA diversity program. Infantino himself invited me to the final match of the Women's World Cup that was in Sydney, and I was the only transgender delegate of the 800 delegates that were there around the world at the FIFA Women's Football Convention. So yeah, it's been so many blessings have come from this experience, and I'm grateful for it, especially to Steve and Mike for the experience that the documentary has given me, but more so now to Taika because it truly amplified the story of the American Samoa team in 2011, and I hope now you all can go and look for the documentary and some PR work for the dog, but go watch it and enjoy it for what it is.
Actually, true story, real quick. Whenever you called me for the first time, never met, and I remember he said, I wanted my fat bastard friend Russell Crowe to play you, but he can't run anymore. so it's Michael Fassbender. I said, either or is fine, no problem. And again, this is the first time we met today, although I send a text once every 2 or 3 weeks, and I know you travel like crazy, but you always respond, do you sleep?
Yeah, I do now, right now.
Sleeps on the plane.
Fantastic praise. And Taika, I mean, how, from the outset, how much of Jaya's story was really central to your adaptation? You mentioned initially at the outset, if you want to see the story, watch the documentary. You've taken some creative changes here with this film.
Yeah, but that's the most interesting part of the story, and it's a huge part of the documentary as well, and that's really probably the heart of what drew me in. And it's interesting because growing up where we come from, Fa'afafine and this part of Polynesian culture, it's quite normal. And you know, I think when you come to America, everyone needs like a name for something and need like a way to hold on or to try and understand things, and then they'll appropriate terms from Native America, like Two-Spirit and stuff. Fa'afafine is what it is, and like we don't try. You know, there was at one point like a little bit of a scene to try and explain what it is, but it's not our job to keep explaining things, and you know, because we never explain it to ourselves, and it's, you know, we live in an age where you have, you know, all the information in the world on your phone. You can find that out.
Yeah.
Maybe to add to that, white man is Palangi, am I correct?
Palangi.
Palangi, correct. And Jai, one of the greatest compliments towards the end of the initial roller coaster ride, she said, "You're the first Palangi that I love." So I really appreciate the first white man that actually can embrace her. Awesome.
A lesson for all the rest of you. With that, let's get to some audience questions. You're going to have to just say as loudly as I can, and I'll repeat the question. Let's start right here.
Hi, Taika. Welcome back. Wondering if you could talk about the moment that you actually watched the documentary. Was it presented to you thinking it would be a Taika film, or were you just watching and thought this will make a movie? And if you guys could talk about what it's like seeing the fictionalized version of yourselves on screen.
Yeah, so the question is about when I first watched the film and whether someone presented it to me. No one came to me. I found it by myself and watched it by myself, and it was like a really nice moment where someone hadn't come and said, "Make this into a movie." And, you know, I had that idea by myself. So, yeah, I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. Someone else, I think, had the rights, or there was some other thing happening, and I gave up on it. And then Mike and Brett came back and said, "It's actually open."
And Jai, what was it like seeing a fictionalized version of yourself?
I think it was, the most important thing for me was that it was a Samoan Fa'afafine that would play me, and I'm really satisfied with Kaimana's performance, but more so her, how she was able to captivate the true essence of the Fa'afafine identity, being someone that didn't really grow up in the Samoan Islands. I was really, it was hard for me to separate the doc from the hybrid version, Taika's hybrid version. But a lot of it was, you know, accurate, and for the sake of, you know, entertainment, you know, we all understand that he'll do as he pleases.
Absolutely.
At the end
Never
of the
let
day.
the truth get in the way of a good story.
There was another question over here. Hi, with the arm up in the aisle. Yes.
Hi, Taika. I love the film. It was great. I just wanted to ask what the editing process was like, since I know a lot of the movies filmed in 2019, so there's a lot of time to prep.
The editing, it took a long time, and there was a big break where we couldn't work. You know, everyone had to stay home. And in retrospect, that was a really positive thing, even though it was a time where a lot of people were going through a lot of intense stuff. For the film, you never really get enough time when you make a film, and especially when you get into the edit process, you're always being rushed. It's like, finish it. And, you know, it takes years to make films, and it takes a long time just to film. Pick it up. You take a film, and for me to have some space and step back for maybe a good 6 months. It's great when you get to do that. When you come back in and you watch the film, you're like, "Oh, I see what's wrong with this. An idiot made this movie, and I know exactly what you need to do to fix it." So yeah, it was in the end a good thing.
Fortunately, we do have to wrap up soon, but just to remember to vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. There's a couple more screenings of this film here at TIFF.
Someone's standing out.
I'm being a
they're
rushy
coming towards
editor.
us.
Okay, yes, absolutely. There's someone really committed here in the aisle.
Yeah, I'd like to make an announcement, if I could, about World Suicide Prevention Day, which is September 10th every year. It's one of those awareness days that nobody's aware of.
Thank you very much for your comments on that thing here. We really do want to focus the discussion on the film here and celebrating the filmmakers tonight, but thank you very much for your comments. Thank you. With all respect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Taika?
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to say you mean so much to so many people here in Toronto, particularly the Indigenous community. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for playing this film here with us today. A huge round of applause for this incredible
Thank you, everybody.
team and the incredible
Appreciate
Taika
it.
Waititi here. Thank you so
Go to
much.
the order.